The last time I saw these two guys was a few weeks ago in Lake Oahe in South Dakota. We were all fishing the National Walleye Tours Championship, and both of these guys ended up in the top 10. This is Kevin McQuoid. We're going to be fishing out of his place on Mille Lake in Minnesota for the next few days, and this is Jason Przekurat. Kevin took 5th. Jason won the world title. He's our new current world champion for the NWT. So I'm fishing with two awesome anglers. I've always wanted to fish with these guys. I've never had the opportunity. We talked about it a little bit at the championship. So we decided to get together here in late August and, you know, go to Mille and just have a good time and try to catch some fish. We're going to learn some things, I think. I know I'm going to. Jason's going to give us a few of his secrets here. I'm hoping so. How about you, Kev?
I'm hoping so. It's always good to learn something.
So, you know, I think everybody's going to learn a little bit here, and I hope that you come and join us and enjoy the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
Mille Lake in Minnesota is known for being a fish factory for walleyes, muskies, and even smallmouth bass.
Pretty much right
My
at...
fingers are 18, so he's 20.
However, for various reasons in recent years, the walleye population has been in a slow but very steady state of recovery.
He bit hard.
While many still believe that the walleye fishing on Mille has come to all but a standstill, Mille guide and multiple FLW tournament winner Kevin McQuoid has been guiding this massive lake for over 20 years, and he knows a comeback when he sees one.
Boy, there's a ton of these in the system right now. Yeah, these are the, what year is this?
These are the 2013 year class.
2013, that big, that fast, huh?
That's why fellow pro tournament anglers and past champions Jason Przekurat and Gary Parsons have come to cast blade baits and glide baits on this legendary body of water.
What do you think, probably 20-incher?
To get a sneak peek at the future, but also enjoy some premier smallmouth fishing.
That didn't take very long, did it?
Oh, that's a good fish. It's amazing this time of year, end of August, and these fish are up that shallow.
We're here on Mille Lake today, late summer, about the end of August. Water temperatures are still pretty warm. A lot of people think deep water, walleyes out here, whether it's the mud flats, 20 to 30 feet of water, or deep gravel bars. Today we're actually trying these shallow humps. They top off at about 8 feet to 12 feet. If you're looking at these humps, or a flat or a point, you can see a faster break coming up to the shallowest part of that. That's really what we like to key on. If you can come up to that spot, if you know where it's at, if you've traveled there one time before, come up to the front of it, anchor right in front of it, or stop right in front of it so you can cast to that shallows without putting the boat in there first. That's a great way to get some of those aggressive walleyes that are sitting right there, and a lot of times it's your first or second cast.
To say Mille has an abundance of structure would be a gross understatement of epic proportions. There are a lot of places to fish.
That's a thin fisher fish.
That's pretty cool.
Decided to put that thing on, and sure enough, wham, he smashed it.
However, Jason, Gary, and Kevin are still able to try something different in terms of lures, while still effectively searching and casting these shallow reefs for pods of walleyes.
This is a nice one. Oh yeah,
that's a walleye. Come on, champ!
I gotta get him in this time. There you got him.
Oh, that's a
good
nice
fish.
That's a nice fish.
That is a good fish. Nice.
Oh, you thin fished him again, huh?
Another thin fisher. That was on that chartreuse and white. It's one of my favorite colors.
Out of all the blade baits, I think I like the thin fisher the best. I don't think people fish those enough, especially in the fall. This is the time of year they really get good.
It is. It's
I don't
easy
know.
to
I catch
fish,
more
too.
fish on that thing.
You can fish it like a jig. You hit bottom and just let it fall back, and they hammer it. So.
Yeah, if you're a good jig fisherman, that's like a natural bait to use.
So when I'm searching for active walleyes and I like to cast to them, What's my favorite bait that I like to use? It's going to be a Johnson Thin Fisher. Actually in the blade bait category, so if you look at the body, it's really thin, but it's got a weighted head. This is a 1/2 ounce model. And how I fish this bait is pretty important. It's almost like a jig. When I cast it out, I let it sink to the bottom. As soon as it hits bottom, I give it about a foot or a 1.5 foot rip, and this bait really vibrates. That's what's going to call those fish in. And then you want to follow it back on a semi-tight line. That's when you're going to get that bite. So always follow it back down and then continue the process. Just rip, follow it back down, rip, follow it back down. The last key ingredient is to use a really thick fluorocarbon leader on this. The reason being, this bait likes to flip over when you rip it like that. So with this thick fluorocarbon leader, the line won't get stuck on the hooks and you'll have a real clean bait all the way through the cast. So that's my active search lures of Johnson Thin Fisher.
Looks like the champ's on a roll.
It's working.
Oh, yeah. Walleye.
Another walleye. Ready?
Nice. Oh yeah,
Nice.
that's a nice one.
Man, they're just cookie cutters, aren't they?
Yeah, just beautiful size right now. If you're looking for eater fish, these are just perfect.
Thin Fisher. It's been hot. It's been a good bait.
Yeah, there's a lot of them in that size. The future of the next 10 years really look great as they're coming through the all the different sizes here, and these fish are just growing and very nice.
Yeah, just all the same cookie cutter fish, man. This future looks good.
It does.
Mille Lacs.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. And Motor Guide. Trolling motors engineered for anglers. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Power Pole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors. This late in August, it is considered abnormal to be able to target walleyes as shallow as Gary, Kevin, and Jason are. This possibly could be attributed to dirtier water brought about by a windier summer.
A little bit bigger than the ones we've been catching here just recently.
While blade baits are one aspect in play for this bite,
Yeah, I made one hop and all of a sudden bonk.
glide baits are also proving very effective,
Oh, I got one.
but with a slight adjustment needing to be made.
Good one?
You know, I think it's a
get the
pretty
net.
decent
I'll get the
fish,
net.
yeah.
Wait for me, wait for
We're
me. Here,
teaching the
Kevin.
champ how to net today.
Dang it, dang it. All right, right hand or left hand?
You got her, huh?
I got this.
He's not a 10-pounder, but
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Nice fish, Gary.
Nice fish.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, he was one of those where it just was there when I lifted, you know? I think they follow those things down.
They do. I'm
and
sure
suck
they
them
just
right
kind of
off the
chase it
bottom
around and
sometimes,
then.
yeah. I think that walleye anglers are a little bit too traditional. They get locked into their jigs and minnows and jigs and crawlers. And the walleye world's changing. It's changing fast also. You can see the guys back here, they're using thin fishers. We're fishing shallow rock reefs today. I'm using a shiver minnow. We're usually fishing them deep, but today I'm using them shallow. We're working anywhere from 6 to 15 feet for the walleyes. The difference is, if I would use a number 3 shiver like we use deep, it would fall way too fast and you get snagged all the time. For the shallow structure, I like to use size 1s and 2s. This is a 2. Same technique. You sweep it, let it fall to the bottom, sweep it, let it fall to the bottom. But the size is important. Same 15-pound fluorocarbon leader, everything the same with the shivers, except for these will fall slow enough and you can work them in shallow water and absolutely crush the fish.
Got one. Oh,
got
this
one?
is a good one.
Holy man, he looks
Yeah,
like
this is the right one. I got a back reel.
You think it's a walleye?
It's a walleye. Oh, it's a big
Oh,
walleye.
it is. Oh,
It's the
yeah.
one, Kev. Oh! I had to back reel him. Come here, fish.
You guys are making me nervous, boys. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Here's a brute.
That's the one you're looking for, man.
It's so cool. I mean, we're casting around here and all of a sudden they quit biting, so instead we just move a cast distance away.
That's what
and
they were.
started whacking them
Yeah.
again. Then you get the big one. It's awesome.
That's awesome fish, probably 23, 24 incher.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
He was mixed right in with them little ones. I mean, like 16 inchers, and then all of a sudden, bam, one big one.
And this hump around here is just loaded with fish. You come over it and just mark, and start to catch the little
9
guys.
feet of water still sitting here.
Yep.
Crazy.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Nice job.
Nice, good, healthy fish.
Sight Bites. Real-time fishing information from all the pros in one place at walleyechatter.com.
One of the important skills you want to develop as a walleye angler is obviously learning how to read your electronics and to mark fish. But actually more important than just marking fish, you want to be able to take those marks and be able to position your boat so that you can actually catch those fish that you're seeing. So what I want to do is show you how I use my Lowrance units here to actually fish structure, how I drive around, mark some fish, and then position the boat so I can cast those fish and hopefully catch them. So let's take a look and see what I can find here. All right, so here's a real classic situation right here. I just came up over a hump, and right on the top or the back side of that hump there sits a fish. So what we'd like to do is fish for that individual fish, but what I got to be able to do is position my boat so I can do that. So what I want to do is actually scroll back and actually position your cursor right on that fish. Now I have a touch screen here, so I can position that cursor right on it. If you don't have a touch screen, you can still use these cursor buttons right here to move that little crossbar right there right onto that fish. Now what that did is over here on my graph is actually positioning that little cross there on that spot where that fish in that high spot is. So I know exactly where it is. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to save a waypoint. I'm going to put a little X on there, and so that X goes here. You'll notice it did not go where my boat is positioned. It went right back here where that fish was actually sitting. Now what I'm going to do is simply turn, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to position myself a little bit upwind of that spot, throw down my XI5, put on the anchor, and I'm going to cast right back to that individual hump, that individual fish, and see if I can catch him.
What makes Mille in Minnesota special isn't just that it's renowned for trophy-sized fish,
Nice one.
I gotta get this one.
He's a tanker.
but that it is such a versatile fishery.
Beautiful fish.
That's typical of Mille right there.
Exactly.
Seeing marks out deeper has Kevin, Gary, and Jason switching over to a drop shot setup to check out the smallie bite.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, yeah. That was a good fish.
Nice. Nice.
That's a good fish.
That's a big one.
That's big.
Yep.
Nice.
Those are the kind you come to Mille for. How cool is that? And catch walleyes and then just kind of slip around either shallow or deeper till you see them and catch big smallies. It's fun.
Yep. Nice, beautiful Mille smallmouth right there. One important part of this drop shotting technique is actually what you're doing with the rod tip. We're fishing a lot more vertical right here, just kind of bouncing that rod tip, letting the weight actually sit on the bottom and just letting that worm dance down there. Pump it a few times, let it sit, bounce it a few more times. A lot of times when you're letting it sit, you'll actually feel that little slurp where they actually come up and grab it, and then just give it a pretty good sweeping action as you're lifting it up. It's not a really hard hook set, just sweep it up and that fish is there and they're on for a good fight.
Gary, Jason, and Kevin didn't have to move very far. The walleyes were under 14 feet, while the smallmouth are looking to be in deeper than 14 feet.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
You didn't even get a good look at him until...
That's a 4 1/4.
Yeah.
Basically just further out from the base, over a tapered flat, from the same type of initial structure the walleyes were holding on.
I know you want to get back.
I gotta keep fishing.
Yeah, this is a good fish.
Mille has an exploding smallmouth population, and it shows in both numbers and size.
Well, this one's heavy. This one's really heavy.
Hey, Jason, you got one on? Looks like it's going to pull you in.
Jay, who's owning who right now?
Oh my God.
You got one, Jason?
My kid had one of these in the tournament. He's like, I can't get it off the bottom. Oh boy, stay down. Oh yeah.
That's a nice one.
That's a nice one.
All right, I'm gonna lift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice fish.
Oh, I love these things.
Look how fat that one is.
Holy cats. Right in the roof of the mouth. Gary, that one was on that ribworm.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been throwing everything at them. This is a ribworm. We've been catching them on everything. I mean, ribworms, pro jig worms, 4-inch gulp crawlers. All of them have been working, but look at that thing.
Yep.
It's just beautiful. So here's the drop shot setup that we're using today to catch all these smallmouths. And once again, drop shots work great, especially in that deeper water. We're in like 20 or 22 feet today. We'll start off with the leader line. It's about 8-pound test. Fluorocarbon is what I use, about 3 to 4 foot section. Going right down to the weight. The weight's tied to the bottom of the leader. 1/4 ounce weights I use from like 15 feet and less. 15 feet and deeper, I go like to do a 3/8 ounce weight. So that's the size we need. And then to the hook itself, size 1 odd, maybe 2 odd if you're really catching big fish. But the most important part is how I hook my baits. The baits that we've been using today, one is a pro jig worm in the power bait lineup. It's a little 3-inch jig style worm that has a nice flat tail on it. It has a lot of action when you sit there and flutter that drop shot down there. It works great. And then the other one we've been using is the twitch tail minnow. When you hook this up, that tail never stops moving. You hook them right from the bottom of the throat through the nose, just so that hook point is coming out the nose. That way that bait is always horizontal. That's the key to a drop shot. You never want it to be vertical. Your bait's always horizontal, kind of hides that hook point, and that's going to help you catch more fish.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Mustad. Stay sharper longer. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineered for anglers. Strike King, legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Hot topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
You know, driving a boat can be a lot of fun, whether it's on smooth water where you can cruise fast, or on rough water, you know, where you're dealing with big waves. And being a tournament angler, one of the things that I pride myself in is being able to drive a boat through rough water. And that's just simply a means of being able to read waves and also use your trim effectively. But one of the things that I actually just had installed on the boat here is a new product from Mercury called Active Trim. And all it does is it basically trims your boat by itself. You don't have to manually trim to keep that boat performing well. And I'll kind of show you what I mean here. We're just sitting steady, and all I'm gonna do is start putting the boat up on plane. And as I start moving the throttle forward without manually trimming it, you'll see that that motor now will trim down by itself to get that engine tucked under the hull so I can get up on plane. And one of the things that it has built in is a few different profiles, meaning how high you want that boat to run, how high you want that bow to be running. If you have a lot of gear, maybe 2, 3, 4 people in the boat, you basically want that bow to probably run a little bit higher. The other thing that this will do is you can manually override the active trim. And all you have to do is simply go manually and trim like you always would, and it will override that active trim. The other thing that's important with active trim is with the GPS features built into this, at 50 miles an hour, it'll actually shut off. When you're going 55, 60, you want to have full control manually over your boat. Like I said, driving boats is a lot of fun, and this new active trim feature makes it so easy for you, and quite frankly, pretty darn cool to run a boat in any condition.
Using their Lowrance units to mark fish and position their boat just outside the fish zone was a very important factor in not spooking the walleyes. But the smallmouth are about twice the depth and not really relating to anything specific in terms of structure. And that has Gary playing with a new toy that's proving to have some obvious potential.
Oh man, we've been playing around out here and catching walleyes and then getting the occasional smallie when we were up shallow. We went a little bit deeper and all of a sudden we're into these things. We've actually been staying in one spot and catching fish after fish after fish. It's been amazing. You know, we're not sitting on a big boulder or anything. We're kind of on a tapered rock shelf. The one cool thing, and I think the reason we're getting so many fish is because we turn the HydroWave on. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but there's no doubt with the number of fish that we caught and how many keep filtering in. Every time you'd catch one, all of a sudden there'd be a double and there'd be another guy getting one. There's no doubt in my mind that the HydroWave's helping to call these in. We've got it on bait feeding frenzy, and I'm telling you, that's exactly what it's been.
Oh, there's one. Hey, another one for Gary.
How's it feel?
I can't really tell yet. I think it's going to be a good one. I can't move it that fast.
All right, I'm coming.
Yeah, he doesn't want to come. Nice, yeah. He's a real nice fish. Yep.
That's a nice one.
That is a decent fish.
Wow.
Wow. There's a good fish.
Nice, pretty one.
Yep.
Fat. On the ribworm again.
Yep. There we go. Yeah, that's a pretty fish.
That's a pretty fish right there.
They're fun, there's no doubt. They're almost walleyes.
They are.
They almost, a lot of times they act more like walleyes than they do bass, really.
And like
I
this
mean,
one
if you're
here,
comparing them to largies.
yep, and the first half of this one here, you really didn't know how big he was because of how much he was just all over and
Right.
coming with you in.
Yep.
Then decided he was hooked and didn't like it.
Right. Yeah, we can let him go here. There he goes.
At the hook.
Yeah. He's going to be a 12-pounder someday.
JP, what's going on with your pants?
Pants on the ground, pants on the ground. Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. Are these Keith's pliers?
Jay, you are one heck of a guy at a net job.
Well, if Gary's is going to be 12 pounds, mine's probably going to be 12 pounds, 1 ounce.
Oh! They're getting smaller!
The Next Bite would like to thank McQuoid's Inn in Max Twin Bay. For more information on Max Twin Bay and their guiding services, visit maxtwinbay.com. And for more info on McQuoid's Inn, visit mcquoidsinn.com.